Ja, grymt, då kör vi.
Let's go.
All right, behind the wheels again. This time with Alex from Avin.
Yes, hello, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. And Alex, when you are not working with streaming, you are into sports, right? You are
yes,
basketball coach.
I spent a lot of hours in my life with playing and coaching basketball, and I still coach a lot of basketball. It's a great thing to do, and it's also associated with streaming, since of course sport is a major driver when it comes to TV and streaming.
Yeah, I mean, sports is, of course, has always been one of the major revenue sources for TV as an industry. And I think it's also a kind of a content format that is a little bit special because you have two dimensions, right? The broadcaster is, of course, one interest in monetizing the sports.
Yes.
But there's also an interest from the sport itself to stay relevant and have like fans and all of that. So it's kind of
really.
it has a deeper kind of relationship than many other TV formats have.
Yes, and it's live content also. So the challenges with most sport you consume live, of course.
Yeah.
So
what do you think about streaming and sports? Does streaming change anything for sports compared to traditional TV?
Yes, a lot. There has been a lot of talk about the direct-to-consumer, sports going direct-to-consumer. Of course, there's opportunities with it, but the money has shown not really to be there. Especially if you're the big sports league, you want reach and being relevant and you are used to getting paid a lot with your sports rights to the ESPNs and distributed by the charters of the world.
Yeah. So if you look at I think United States, I guess United States is both the biggest sports market on the globe, right? And it's also the biggest TV market on the globe.
Yes.
And maybe it's the market that has evolved the most, or they have most changes due to this. And right now, as I understand, the sports market in the US is a bit fragmented and complicated if you're a fan.
Yes, it's actually at the breaking point right now. Last week there was a conflict between ESPN and charters that is distributing ESPN being the major sports channel, and the money comes from the customers, of course, to charter, then goes to ESPN, and then goes to the sports league. And if there's a break in that chain, the money breaks. The players will not get the contracts associated with really high TV deals. Mm-hmm. So it's at that breaking point, and now they come to an agreement which kind of pushes this decision in the future. But it's a really tough challenge there.
So what you're saying is that due to the complexities in the, if you will, the value chain of TV, when it comes to sports, this is even more complicated because you have a value chains that are competing, and then you have some interest all the way down to the players.
Yes. That
this value chain is working, and if it breaks down, they won't get their salaries.
No, exactly. And of course, the going direct to consumer, it's a thing that people are cutting their TV channels and not having traditional TV channels, and you don't get that same amount earning per user when you go direct to consumer. Plus, you take care of all the cost. Like for instance, if you are the NBA, you have a league pass option. You can buy NBA as D2C, but that money is less than what you get from ESPN. So you're making less money, and the big kind of conflict is also reach. You want to be relevant. You want to be have the game that the family sits down together on the Sunday, Monday, or whatever, and you watch it together, because that will build the interest for future customers. But if you lose that, you just have direct to consumer, where people are sitting like with their iPad and watching alone, not together with the family. That will be a big risk of that the sports will not be relevant and as popular as before. So you are in a really challenging position.
Yeah, no, so you're right. That of course, in the end, it's not only about how you distribute it. You need to have a big enough interest and fan base to no matter what kind of channel you use, there must be a fan base that wants to tune in. But I guess going back is not an option, right? So we will never see the old cable bundles again.
No.
So we kind of need to innovate here and find new ways. And conceptually, don't you think that streaming and internet have a lot of potential to kind of reinvent how sports is being streamed and distributed?
Of course. And like for Charter, for example, they are selling the internet access. They want to continue that, and for them to bundle in whatever way it is. You in the US, you have YouTube TV, which basically is over-the-top TV channels offering that you can use instead of going with the traditional IPTV or cable distribution.
Yeah.
So there are options to actually continue watching the channels in the same traditional way, but it's getting messy, and of course the internet distribution part is changing. Good content will always be king, of course, but to stay on top to be that king, you got to be relevant, you got to acquire new fans and all of that, and then you need to be top of mind.
Yeah.
And that's a challenge, because the only thing that is kind of not there on the internet is time. Though that's the only thing that there is not abundance of time. Time is the only scarce resource.
Yeah, it is. And this, now I must admit, I'm not a big sports fan myself. So no, I'm not, believe it or not. But so it's kind of nice to have someone who is next to me on the passenger seat like this, because I was thinking, if you look at on the internet today, how social media works and social networks, that you kind of the benefit of the internet and these social networks, that it enables the creation of a more, if you will, interactive relationship with the influencers, right? So and don't you think there's opportunities to leverage similar things for like sports? So I mean, in the past it was very difficult to have any kind of relationship with the football stars, as an example. But today, technically, you could do that, and so on. And that is an opportunity that I don't think is used really in in sports broadcast and TV today, is it?
No, but how do you monetize on that? That's the key question. It's that content is actually free. And in that sense, the only people that are making money out of those social media things is the platforms themselves. It's the TikToks, the Facebook, and the YouTubes for free content. They are making the money, but the players are not. The one who kind of created the content is not making the money. And that being compared to the TV deals that have brought a lot of money into sports. So it's a challenging thing. But of course, reach and being relevant is being helped by social media. And that is what made some of the sports league very popular and successful to younger generations, like the NBA, where they were probably one of the first that actually shared highlights and the things on social media for free, and the relevant highlights. But it's also, you need to continue to consuming the actual game and paying for it in order to bring in some money for the leagues, the players, and all of that. And that's a kind of bigger fear when you talk about generation, that the only thing you will do as young sports fan is consume highlight clips on TikTok. That is not bringing anything. So coming to another challenge into the sport is actually attracting a younger generation, and maybe a football game, soccer game, 2 times 45 minutes, where it can get boring in sometimes, or a long basketball game with the long timeouts and all of that. That's boring. There's not enough action.
No.
And how do you keep them engaged into that? So I think actually for the sport itself, you need to update the rules, the length of the game to stay attractive.
Yeah,
the younger generation, esport generation, they're used to action.
Yeah, it's supposed to be much
faster. That type of competition is action fast. You have short games, competitive games. You have time limits. Sport cannot be conservative anymore.
No. And actually, you just mentioned it, that it's quite interesting as a reference, esports, right? Because my son is a heavy esports user. And it just struck me now, you talked about that traditional sports, you have the kind of the social dimension happens on other platforms.
Yes.
But I'm about to argue that in esports, the social interaction actually happens on the same platform as the sport. So if you Twitch users and so on, they interact with the stars, if you will, on the Twitch platform. So maybe there's something that the esports industry have done that we could be inspired of, trying to aggregate as much as possible of the content value on the same platform. Because it might even be so, you said, as you said, that today there are plenty of revenues generated by sports stars, but those revenues ends up in the hands of the social media platform providers.
Yes.
So it might even be so, if we add up all revenues being generated, it might be more revenues now than there ever were. It's just that those revenues ends up in different pockets, and not all of it goes to broadcast, right? And maybe that's something to think about, and also look into if there's something they have done on like Twitch and other platforms, so you can maybe keep more of those revenue streams on the same platform.
Exactly. And right now in esports, what I've seen is that the platform is making the money, and what comes to the actual players and the competitors, that's kind of from the marketing budget of the game development and manufacturing companies. So it's not comparable to what football stars, basketball stars are earning. So, but there is revenues if you have good competitive games. There will be that people spend time watching. There will be revenues, and how the changes of that distribution is what we're talking about. That is changing. So you need to adapt and be very flexible to survive this.
Thank you. I think our road trip is coming to an end.
Yes, we're almost at the point where we're.
Yeah, I think so. So it's been great having you, and I think the conclusion is that sports is going through a massive change due to this the shift to more internet and so on. And right now we have too much fragmentation. This must be solved.
Yes.
And I also think we conclude that there are most likely a lot to learn from other industries, how they have managed to monetize great content on internet better than we might be doing right now.
Great summary.
Yeah, so thank you.
Thank you for the ride.
Joining me, and have a great day.
Yes, thank you.